Today, we're kicking off part 1 of our series, What If Everyone Gets Obsessed with Deku and Had Harem? If you enjoy this video, please give it a like and subscribe for more content in the future. The author of this story is Guy number 23 from FanfictionNet. All the relevant links are in the description. Feel free to say hello to the author on their profile. Now, let's dive into the fanfic. Author's note. So, good morning, afternoon, night for everyone who is reading this. First story on Boku no Hero Academia. I warn you, the characters may diverse greatly from the originals due to lewd things. This huge mess popped on my mind inspired by a certain doujinshi where our dear quirk inheritor was born with a quirk, one that lead to the formation of a harem, as you may or may not be used to, depending on how much schooler life animes you had seen before. That said, rated M for obvious reason, don't own nothing related to Boku no Hero Academia, except for this fic, just the usual. Forgive me in advance for any errors you may find in the text, not natural language, still working on it. It all starts with a thought. UA. High school. The #1 college for those who seek the most popular and viewed profession in the world. A hero. Since the appearance of the first baby with a quirk, the world changed completely, with more and more people manifesting those unique characteristics. This, of course, caused major problems, the biggest of them all being a huge increase in criminality, but with that also came the age of the heroes, people willing to use their quirks to help others and make the world a better place. Such was the greatness of these changes, the heroic acts became a profession itself, just like a fireman, a medic, or a professor, and with that came some benefits and also some rules. Thus, in order to prepare the next generations for the great responsibilities of having others trusting their lives on them, the hero course was created, and it quickly became the most popular among all the girls and boys. And in the middle of this huge wave stood Midoriya Izuku, a very shy and recluse teen, once quirkless, but now the inheritor of the quirk of the #1 hero, All Might, one for all. Due to his previous lack of quirk, Izuku never had many friends. In fact, his condition led to what one could call a miserable childhood, being constantly bullied by his friend, Bakugo Katsuki. But despite all that, Izuku grew up with a dream that one day he would be a cool hero that saved people with a big smile on his face, just like his idol. The first step was having a quirk check. Then enter in the best hero course, the one his idol and mentor went by check. Now he had to learn how to control his new power without breaking every bone on his body in progress. And due to the lack of social skills, he had to work on interacting with people in order to be a suitable successor of the symbol of peace, also in progress. Despite his introverted personality, his mumbling habits, and his probably, just a little bit exacerbated adoration for All Might, he was a kind boy with a heart of gold and a will strong as steel. You just had to give him some time and then he would show the best of him. Yes, Midoriya Izuku was without a shade of doubt someone you could count on, and Uraraka Ochako knew that pretty well. Ochako was also a very kind girl with a bubbly, warm, and bright nature, as her name suggested. They met at the entrance of the UA, and even went through the admission test together. She would not admit it, not even to herself, but she fell in love with the guy as fast as her other friend Ida Tenya could run. But that was back then. Right now she had other conflicts on her head to solve. Ochako's Pav. This is bad, really bad. I did it again, and the worst part is that I'm starting to not care about it, as if it was something normal. Am I a lost case? Well, it doesn't matter right now, as in right now, because I am thinking of him, so forget the rest. I'll worry about my morals tomorrow. This is so more important. Deku-kun, you are really a bad boy, you know it. No one should be so adorable and cute and nice and smart and so damn sexy at the same time. Just thinking about you makes me get hot. It was easier back then when I just got flustered, but every time you come to my mind I get so hot. I can't resist the urge. Damn it, Deku-kun, you are making me a needy girl, you know it? Of course you don't, but that's my fault. You are such a pure person that you probably won't look at me and other was beside a friend. But I want to be more to you, I need to be more to you. I need you so bad I think I'll go crazy at some point. Wow, tone down Ochako. He surely won't like a crazy and needy girl glued on him, right? But what if someone else catch his attention? Ugh, the simple thought of some random girl seducing my Deku-kun makes me want to puke. Oh my, am I turning into some kind of yandere? Ah, Deku-kun, I need you so much, so much, and you don't even know it. I wish I could just go and tell you right away, but I can't. What if I say something wrong? And if you just say no? What if you end hating me? No, that can't happen. Deku-kun hating me. What would I do then? Ah, Deku-kun, you make me so wet. And, yes, she is doing what it seems she is doing. It was way past midnight, everyone was sleeping in the Heights Alliance, except for a certain Uraraka Ochako. In the darkness of her room, alone with a picture of Midoriya doing his workouts at the gym, the strange angle giving out that said person didn't exactly allow her to take this photo with her phone. Ochako stopped counting how many times she touched herself while thinking about her dear green-haired boy around the number 74, and ultimately she wasn't worrying much about it either. She had her mouth muffled by her pillow because her moaning could get her into an embarrassing situation with the other girls, one of the downsides of the dorm system. Seriously, sometimes she forgot to lock the door and one of them just had to enter almost without warning. Not that she spent all of her free time doing it, just GN the times she started early. By so, she decided to always double-check the lock and start after midnight. This proved to be a difficult choice because Ochako wasn't getting any additional hours of sleep, but seeing Midoriya's face every day worked as a mental recharge. This night, thought, was totally different. On the classroom of yesterday, since his past midnight they went through a rescue training and she happened to be one of the victims. She was tied by hopes over a fake pit of acid, and the rope would be cut down in some minutes, the time the hero had to defeat the villain, save her, or do both if Hesh could. And Midoriya did it so perfectly, at least in her eyes. He was against Kirishima and Ida, not exactly the most perfect combination, but each one was pretty hard to deal with. But Midoriya, being Midoriya, used one of his best powers, his mind, to think of a plan to get through the barrier and save the hostage. At the end he used Kirishima as an unmoving object against Ida's unstoppable force, and the result was catastrophic for the redhead and the running teen. Using his full cowl he saved Ochako at the very last second, catching her mid-air bridal style after the rope was cut, a true hero save scene. And while in Midoriya's head, he was freaking out about holding his not-so-secret crush like a bride, in Uraraka's head there was a whole list of what they would do and try at the night of their honeymoon. Heck, she had to hold herself in order to not wet her hero costume. And with that event in mind, Ochako could not wait to midnight to come. She had to release her tension, but due to what happened it didn't seem the same as usual. She came 4 times already and was still feeling hot. Hot? Was really it? Maybe it was frustration. Yeah, she was frustrated for a lot of reasons. For one, she didn't have the courage or the nerve to ask her crush out, not even to a simple outing between friends, let alone a date. Second, she noticed it before, but now it was clear to her that simple pictures of Midoriya would not satisfy her needs. The ones she had weren't erotic in the slightest. This one, where Midoriya had his arms exposed and a very small portion of his abs showing, was the closest thing she had. Third, and maybe most important, her imagination had a limit, a very high limit, but a limit nonetheless. The waves of pleasure coming from her inwards didn't have the same effect of the first times. She was very ashamed of herself for doing it, thinking about Midoriya above all things, but now it was just a good feeling. She fell on the routine, and to get out of it and release her tension, she would need to reach new levels, go beyond. But the question was how? How to get a closer feeling of her dear Deku-kun. She could try these toys she heard about sometimes, but it would be too risky to leave possible crime proofs in her room. Then something clicked on her light head. The best way to get closer to Deku-kun was having the real deal. Oshako's POV. I can't do it. He's too beautiful, too perfect, too pure. Do this to him would maculate his very image. I feel guilty of being playing with myself having him on my head. Not that this will stop me. I can get over this low level of guilt. Ah, Deku-kun, if only I could have you for a single moment, 1 minute to memorize your everything. Deku-kun's curly hair, his cute freckles, his bright eyes, Deku-kun's strong arms, his toned abs that I know he has, his defined chest. Wah, Ochako, what the hell are you thinking? What are you? Get yourself together, I can't give up to the temptation. Ah, just lay on your bed and sleep, Ochako. That won't happen. Not today, not tomorrow, probably never happen. Yes, stay on the bed, today is Saturday after all. She was telling herself that, but she already on the balcony of her room. There, in the middle of night, she took a deep breath as she pondered what she was about to do. Looking up at the starry sky, she thought about all the consequences that could come from that idea, both for her and Midoriya. A gentle cold breeze blew by, brushing her hair. It also sent shivers down there because she was hot and wet. She has set her mind. Using her quirk to make herself lighter, she jumped from her balcony and started climbing up to the roof, as silent as she could, to reach the boy's side. She climbed one balcony after another. Her cheeks puffed as she was fighting her sickness of using her power. Impressive how a turn-on could help so much. She had to see it better later, maybe. She finally reached her destination, releasing her zero-gravity effect. Luckily, the glass door was open, so it was easy to get in. Once inside the dark room, she laid her eyes on her dear Deku-kun, the bluish-white light of the moon illuminating his tranquil face. Ochako didn't know how much longer she had been staring at his sleepy form, but she shook her head and cleared her mind. This was the last time to consider things, there was no turning back after that. Her deep thought wandered to lewd things so quickly that all the restrictions she had put for herself went flying through the imaginary window. Hell, she was drooling a little. Ochako's puff. And, just to make things clear, in this part the normal text is one voice in Uraraka's head and the italic is another voice. Deku-kun is sleeping, I shouldn't do it. I feel like a sinner for disturbing his sleep. But when will I have such a good opportunity? But what will he think of me? What if he hates me? I just have to make sure he enjoys it so much he will ask for more. No, Deku-kun isn't like that. He is such a great person. He surely is, but I want to see how great he really is. No comment. No, me too. His sleepy form is so beautiful. Forgive me, Deku-kun, but I must do it. I cannot resist you any longer. Uraraka reached for his blanket and removed in a swift motion, and for her most happiness, he was sleeping without shirt, only using boxers. No lost opportunities, she took some good shots with her phone. Sitting at the end of the bed, she leaned over his legs, reaching for his boxers. After that hard task, she allowed herself to appreciate her hard work, Deku-kun's exposed inner regions. Her breath immediately became irregular as she was getting excited. Her head hovered over her target, but centimeters away from JT she heard something that would change her life. Uraraka, not here, they are looking. My name, he said my name, Deku-kun is dreaming with me. She felt in heaven so much that she didn't even consider what kind of context she was on his dream. That aside, she became so aroused and love-blind that her mind focused on a single thing. If he was awake, Midoriya would see pink hearts on Uraraka's bright eyes and a kind of menacing and lustful aura around her. Just wait, Deku-kun, you are going to feel amazing, I promise. And with that, she took hold of the sleepy boy's member and started jerking off at a slow pace at first, increasing the speed until it became hard. Uraraka had to cover her mouth not to let out her gasp when she saw his erect member. Her eyes were big like saucers. And then came the final blow to the girl's unstable mind. Midoriya let out a small moan. Yes, Deku-kun moaned, I am all yours, Deku-kun. Take as much of me as you want. Without second thought, she started enjoying herself the taste of her loved one. It was unusual, different, but wonderful in a way she could not describe in words. The more she liked, the more she wanted. Opening her mouth, she started sucking it while using her tongue to like. With her now free hand, she removed her clothes and started playing with herself. Indeed, this was a whole new level of pleasure. It was totally worth the risk. She could feel his body tensing, his member getting even harder as she sucked in, and it only made her excited. Ochako dared to go beyond and tried to put his entire deck inside her mouth, but she gagged when it reached her throat, making her back off and gasp for air. Deku-kun, so big, heh heh heh. She tried again and again until she finally managed to touch the base of his deck. She had to focus completely on this in order to not choke on this huge bone, and waited some time like that to get used to the feeling. Once her lungs could not wait any more for air, she backed off again, breathing heavily. Right, I think I got it. Be ready, Deku-kun, Uraraka Ochako will make you came tonight. With this unique motivation, Uraraka dived back at the member of her loved one, determined to give him the best night of his life so far, even if he was sleeping. She started again, this time with much more technique. She had a fast pace and was stroking the base of his member. From time to time Midoriya would involuntarily let out a low moan, which only encouraged the brunette to keep going on. Uraraka herself was enjoying it so much she came by herself, but she kept going anyway. Then something got her attention. His body was becoming more stiff, which she supposed to be the signal that he was close. Perfect! A chance to taste Midoriya's juices. She sped up a bit and felt his member twitching inside her mouth. It was the time. She shoved as much of his member as she could inside her mouth with all her strength. Sparks started to form around the green-haired boy's body, and he squeezed his eyes shut, and then he came out. Now, Uraraka heard about those hentai animes where there was a massive jet of came all over the place, and she was smart enough to know it was impossible to happen, which was the main reason why she got so surprised the massive stream that exploded. It went straight to her, some going down right away and the rest filling her mouth. She had to back off, but not before making sure of having every drip of it. She finally made it and lifted her head, her cheeks full with cane while she took slow gulps of the thick liquid. With her mouth finally free, she allowed herself to gasp for air. Well, it doesn't taste so bad, she said in a low tone to herself. Huh? After hearing that her whole body tensed, she slowly looked up and found Midoriya, half awake and looking at her with a puzzled face. She became like a statue. Maybe he could believe he was dreaming, right? But the progression from confusion to understanding and then panicking told her otherwise. Urara. SHHH. Uraraka quickly covered his mouth with her hand. Unfortunately, or not, she used the hand that was down there inside her, so it was covered with, which only made the boy panic even more. Inside Midoriya's head was like a tornado. He was flustered that he had such a lewd dream with Uraraka, and then when he woke up he was without pants and with Uraraka herself on top of him in a very suspicious position. Could it be the attack of a villain? No, wait, why would a villain attack him like this, and at UA, on top of everything? Another wait, could there be quirks related to, well, sec, he never heard about it before so. Deku-kun, Uraraka whispered. Huh? You are mumbling again. On the bright side, it wasn't an attack, at least of a villain. On the dark, terrible side, it really was Uraraka on top of him covering his mouth with a hand suspiciously wet. But before he could ask what the hell was happening, he saw something that completely threw him off. Uraraka was crying. Small tears formed in the corners of her beautiful eyes and rolled down her peaky cheeks. For a second he stopped to acknowledge just how precious she looked when in light of the moon. Sorry, Deku-kun, I did something unforgivable. What? Uraraka-san, what happened? I couldn't contain myself. I needed it so much that I... What is it? What did you have to do? I sucked your member. An odd minute of silence. Can I ask why? The two of them were a mess of blush and awkwardness, so Uraraka decided to throw what was left of her dignity away and tell him right away. There couldn't be any better time. Well, Deku-kun, it happens that I love you. I really love you. So much that I cannot get you out of my head, and I got so excited that, it's a shame to simply say it. You really love me? Huh? Yes, I really do. I love you, Deku-kun. There was no way he could get any more red than now. Oh, I see. Well, I mean, I love you too, Uraraka. There was no way she could get any more red than now. You are not lying? No. Since the first time I saw you, I knew I loved you. I just never had the courage to say it. Sorry. Midoriya was looking to anywhere but the girl on top of him, but when he said it, he had to face her, and he found her with tears on her eyes. He was about to go on his famous sequence of apologies, but he was interrupted by a big smile forming and a deep, passionate kiss from his crush. At first he was scared and lost, but soon he gave in to the kiss, closing his eyes and enjoying it himself. He felt her soft and small hands caress his face and his hair, and he also allowed his hands to wander around her body as well. In other circumstances, the fact that she was only wearing a long t-shirt would worry him, but now he was more interested in the girl of his dreams than thinking. When Midoriya felt a sensation, his brain restarted to function properly and he broke the kiss. "You Uraraka, what are you? Shhh, please let me enjoy it a little too." Midoriya now could see the pink hearts on her eyes. By some reason he felt that he had to give this to her, maybe because of what she did to him earlier. The small moans of the brunette completely turned him on, and he was liking the vision he was getting. He could see a small part of her chest. Well, it got better because now she removed her shirt and shoved her jugs in his face. "Deku-kun, can you suck them, please?" How could he say no? Uncertain at first, he started slowly, but Midoriya was a fast learner, and soon he got the way of how to make her moan and tremble. As for Midoriya, well, he was surely having his time too. He never really thought seriously about having a girlfriend before, due to his focus on being a hero, and also because of his low self-esteem, so when Uraraka said she loved him, he felt the best in the world. Also due to his lack of social skills and his pure nature, he never thought about doing what he was doing now. To be honest, he never really understood why Kaminari and Mainta would always talk about this kind of topic. Well, now he did, but he was sure they didn't get anywhere near his actual level. Was it pride he was feeling? Well, he was happy that he had Uraraka for him, but it wasn't as if he was a thing for him to keep. There, he had Uraraka. Thinking simple about it, it was an achievement for him, a great one, considering his shyness and clumsiness. Anyway, that was too much overthinking. But deep in the back of his mind, the last bit of his rational part considered making some research on this topic. He felt that he had to make Uraraka feel as good as she made him feel. Speaking of which, Deku-kun, I'm about to. He kind of knew what that meant, so he sped up a bit and tried to reach a little deep inside her. Uraraka was feeling sheer pleasure and was on her limit. None of the times she played herself could compare to what she was feeling now, by a huge difference. At her breaking point, her whole body tensed, and she thrusted her hips forth while holding Midoriya by his head, and then she came. She had to hold her breath to stop the screaming from coming out loud. She was shaking, and her inwards were wet and hot as if they were on fire. A huge wave washed over her, and she finally relaxed, all that while Midoriya tried to take in her juices without making a mess. Both were short-breathed, but Uraraka had the most lustful face Midoriya has ever seen. None that he saw a great number anyways. His reference was a teen magazine with Midnight on the cover that he saw once when he was at the comics stand. That view of Uraraka would be cauterized in the back of his eyes forever, he was sure of it. The brunette then seemed to get back from Lustland and looked endearingly at her green-haired crush that now was more than just a crush. She laid her naked body over his and rested her head on his chest. "Deku-kun, did you like to touch my jugs?" Yes." "Deku-kun, did you like to touch me down there?" Yeah." "Deku-kun, forgive me for making you do it. I just..." "Stop it. You didn't force me, at least not after I woke up. I feel very ashamed of doing it. Do you hate me? Do you think I am a..." "Don't even say it, Uraraka. I would never hate you, and you are not a, well, you know, that kind of woman." "You really mean it?" "Yes, I do." "Deku-kun, can I be your girlfriend?" "Sure. Can I be your boyfriend?" Absolutely. Can I call you by your first name? Oh, sure, but it is better not tell the other right away. They would make a lot of noise. In a good way, I guess. Yeah, I was also thinking of that. Ochako then locked her new boyfriend in another passionate kiss, the juices of each other mixing in a strange yet nice mess inside their mouths. You taste wonderful, Izuku. You too, oh Ochako. Another glimpse of the pink hearts. Was he seeing things? Well, anyway, with that, she playfully kissed his forehead and left the bed, picking up her shirt and moving to the balcony so she could go back to her room. Izuku got up and reached for something on his bed. Ochako, why you forgot this? Oh, this? You can keep it as a memory of tonight, okay? As she said it, she winked playfully and jumped up while using her quirk to make herself lighter. And Izuku was left alone. Looking closer at it, it was clear to him that she was wet way before she got here. She must have been looking forward to it for a long time. And while he resisted the urge to sniff this piece of clothing that his girlfriend was using moments ago, said girlfriend was hoping he would do so. After all, she did get his cloth. After the last weekend, Midoriya Izuku felt like a whole new person. In one night, not only he achieved his goal of confessing his love for Uraraka Ochako, he also asked her to be her boyfriend, and she said yes. And let's not forget the completely new and unexpected experience with his new girlfriend. To say they were intimate was an understatement, but putting aside the gigantic amount of happiness he felt, both agreed to keep their relationship a secret from the rest of the class, for the sake of avoiding too much noise. They decided that a more gradative approach would be better, giving some hints here and there until they officially came up with the news. Monday morning came and Midoriya woke up to the first day of the first week of his new life as a teen in a relationship. He was eager to go to class and stay near his girlfriend. My girlfriend, huh? That simple thought was enough to put a huge smile on the green-haired teen's face. He jumped from his bed and rushed to his wardrobe, changing into his training clothes. In fact, he woke up pretty early to go on his matinal run, usually 20 laps at the running track. After that, he took a quick shower and went to the common room to get his breakfast. He decided to go with some cereal today and sat with his bowl at one of the tables, letting his mind wander freely around Uraraka in the meantime. Such was his daydreaming that the boy failed to notice some of his friends talking with him and sitting beside him, Kirishima, Aoyama, and Ajiro, to be precise. Oi, Earth to Midoriya. Is someone there? Kirishima waved a hand in front of the distracted boy's face, bringing him back to the real world with a jump. Oh, Kirishima. Good morning. Morning, Midoriya. Man, you wake up pretty early. Do you even sleep? Ah, well, I'm kind of used to it. It's like an habit. Ah, you seemed very caught up on your thoughts. What did you have on your head, Mon-ami? Aoyama, always twinkling, asked with his usual smile as they grabbed a toast and put on some butter. Midoriya had to stop his mouth from saying right away about Uraraka and him together. Nothing in particular. You guys also wake up early. I always woke up early because of the martial arts training, so it's pretty much the same as you. Having the right amount of sleep is pretty important if you want to shine all day. My old man always told me that a true man doesn't slack off. The small group kept talking about other topics and Midoriya was relieved he didn't have to get into that particular point again. Soon the rest of the crew joined them, and after breakfast they headed to the classroom. Class went on like usual, except for some brief glance exchanges between the secret lovebirds. Then came the hero training, today a standard rescue mission on ground beta, 2 heroes, 2 villains, 1 hostage, contain or defeat. Midoriya teamed up with Shoji against Takoyami and Sato, and Ida ended as the hostage. No big deal, except for when Midoriya went to his place and passed by Uraraka, the girl discreetly gave him a slap on his butt, which obviously startled the boy, but he managed to fake it while Uraraka had a sly smile on her lips. And so the week went as usual, normal classes and hero classes, lunchtime, etc., but here and there Uraraka would interact with her boyfriend, always avoiding possible observers, like touching some, compromising parts in intimate ways and locking him in passionate kisses while he training alone or walking by. One time she even snuck on a brush beside the running track and just pulled Midoriya in like a cat jumping on bird. But it reached the peak at Friday during lunchtime. Before he could get a seat with the crew at the tables, Uraraka dragged him out saying that she needed help with something. For their classmates, it wasn't more than the obvious crush they both had for each other, so they ignored it. It wasn't like they were dating, right? Yeah, keep thinking like that. Uraraka dragged Midoriya without saying another word until they reached the back of a gym, far from the other buildings and paths that students and teachers used and surrounded by some trees and bushes. There, alone with her man, Ochako didn't waste time in planting her lips on his, kissing the greenette fiercely and reaching inside his shirt to run her hands over his chest and abs. Izuku at first was startled by the sudden move, but soon he joined her into the kiss, also running his hands over her back and thighs, thought without the same amount of invasiveness. After 4 long minutes they finally broke up, gasping for air. Ochako leaned her head on his chest and held his clothes. Izuku was the first to talk. "You seem like you didn't saw me in the entire week." "What can I say? I didn't exactly see you." "Huh, what are you talking about?" He was interrupted by Ochako, and she quickly got on her knees and brought down his pants in a single move. "Whoa, Uraraka, hold on, we can't do this here," she answered him with a pout and puffy cheeks. "Deku-kun, I thought we were already on the first names." "Oh, sorry, it's still kinda weird, and we only do that when we are alone so. Which is why we should spend more time together." Well, the others could start to suspect. "Oh, I'm not talking about this way of spending time. Yura Ochako, someone could see us." "Don't worry, sweetie, I checked it the entire week. No one will get here, so it can be our secret place." "Okay, but don't you think it is too early to oh shit?" She didn't bother to listen the rest as she grabbed Izuku's member and started stroking it at a fast pace. She had a seductive smile on her lips and her eyelids half open while she looked up at the boy's red face. "You may be saying no, but down there you are screaming yes." "You know, I waited the entire week for this." Thought he wanted to deny it, Ochako was really good at what she was doing, considering that it was the second time she did it. He was sure it was her second. He believed in her. Anyway, he knew he was enjoying it more than he should, her head moving back and forth, the wet sounds that came from her mouth, the shivers that her moaning on his member sent to his spine, the soft touch of her hand on his skin, the feeling of her tongue rolling around, and the passionate look she had for him, her endearing eyes never leaving his, as if she constantly asked if he was liking what she was doing. No, more like is she was asking if she was doing it right. Due to the lack of experience, for Izuku it was beyond perfect, but that was the point. Should he really like it that much? Well, the answer was hard to find because each stroke dragged his mind to the brunette need in front of him, impeding his brain from working properly. So his focus changed completely to Ochako. What did he like on her? Well, she was really beautiful, happy, and positive about most everything. He liked how she always tried to cheer up everyone around her and how she cared for the feelings and well-being of her friends. He loved her bright brown eyes, even when they were filled with a menacing aura of determination. He loved her brown hair and how it framed her cute round cheeks. He loved how she looked on her hero suit, cute and beautiful at the same time, the curves of her hips and thighs, the moves that her jugs made when she was running, and now the newly discovered face she had whenever she was aroused. It was really hot. So much that Izuku could not hold much longer. "Oh, Ochako, I'm near to." "Go on." "What?" Caught in the heat of the moment, Izuku barely noticed that he activated his quirk on full cowl, and only when he reached his limit he understood what was happening. Once again a huge wave came out, instantly filling Ochako's mouth. This time she managed to swallow a great part of it on the act, but still ended with her cheeks full. After some slow gulps she finally breathed and stuck her tongue out while she looked up at the green-haired team. "See? I swallowed it all." "Oh my, I think this is too stimulating for me. Well, I guess it's my turn now." "No." "Huh, what?" She got up and planted a quick peck on his lips. "I want you to enjoy it as much as I. You don't need to force yourself because of me." Besides, when you really want to do something, you always surprises me. So, what now? Until you feel like I'll keep doing it as much as you want. I have to say it's kinda selfish of my part, but if you don't mind. No, not at all. Okay then, whenever you feel tensed, call me. No more need to use your hand, right? I never did it, really. Ha ha ha, Deku-kun, you really are a pure boy. But look at all the cane you fed me, I'm still baffled. Well, when I was near to, I activated full cowl on instinct. Since my quirk is a power enhancement, maybe. Oh, Deku-kun, your quirk boosts you up when you Wah, don't say that so loud. Then a line of thought formed on his mind. The way I manifest one for all is by simply using the raw strength, unlike All Might and the muscle form he had back then. So if one for all manifests in slightly different ways, then the effect should also follow the pattern. So, in this case, All Might would have a giant. Midoriya stopped himself from completing the phrase. He could have exposed his secret to Uraraka, and under the most ridiculous situation. Uraraka was used to the mumbling, but that sudden burst was new to her. Anyways, he said it was nothing, so to her it was nothing. After that they left to the lunchroom to grab food. Midoriya had to insist since Ochako kept joking she was already satisfied. And after that it became a routine for them. They did it after midnight and on Sunday too. They did it early in the Monday morning on the classroom when they were on the duty to clean everything on their secret place behind the bushes on the running track, on a blind spot on ground Gamma during a rescue training, and even on the Heights Alliance showers, one of their darest moves. The next week went on like a hot breeze, driven by Uraraka's apparently endless lust and need. Sometimes Midoriya thought that he would eventually run dry, even if he knew it was biologically impossible. And yet, every time Uraraka dragged him out to their secret dates, he would feel guilty in a way, because at the end he was the only one being pleased, and that feeling kept growing up as time passed. And so came the end of week again, and again the brunette dragged him out to their hideout. Would the Fridays always be so busy? She didn't even have to say anything. Just a look or a light nudge would be enough for him to take the hint. Once behind the gym, she didn't waste time and already pulled down Midoriya. He kind of already had a turn on, knowing what would happen next. Oh, just thinking about me makes you like that, Izuku dear? Well, what can I say? She started stroking his member pretty much as usual. Now that he had more experience, Izuku could tell that she got better at it with each time she had him. Also, he noticed that for some reason he gained some endurance, because it was taking more time for him to reach his limit. It kind of worried him that maybe he could reach a point where he would be unable to, let it all out. But Ochako never ceased to surprise him. Thought he would never truly admit it or tell her that she had some talent to this. Speaking of which, Ochako was very caught up in what she was doing today. She had the entire length of his member inside her mouth, without gagging and moving her head pretty fast, if compared to the previous times. If he could tell, she seemed extremely thirsty for him today. Oh my, Ochako! She stopped just for a moment and looked up at him with her lustful yet cute and bright eyes. Don't worry about it, dear. I want you to be yourself. Don't hold nothing back. And then she resumed, this time even faster. By now she kind of knew when he was near his limit, and she felt very proud of knowing these details about her boyfriend. Izuku was a really good guy, and even when she was obviously driving him crazy from sheer pleasure, he would keep himself from swearing or touching her in a way that could hurt her. He is so careful sometimes, but he is finally opening up for me. The green-haired boy couldn't hold himself much longer, as the brunette need in front of him was using all her skill and with lots of energy. He felt the energy of one for all building up inside him as he got closer to climax, small sparks appearing here and there. On instinct, he held her head on the sides and moved it faster, catching Ochako by surprise. She got startled for some seconds but quickly adjusted to the new speed and let him have it his way, happy that he was taking some initiative. Izuku's low moans and grunts sounded like music to her, and she took the opportunity to use her free hands on her private parts, which was already wet. When Izuku reached his limit, the huge stream came out, and he held her head close to his hips, her lips glued on the base of his member. This time she had some difficulty swallowing everything, but somehow managed to do so. The boy was so lost in his world that Ochako had to use her hands and pull off his member to breathe. "Wah, sorry Ochako, I kinda got lost in my mind." "No cough problem really, it means you liked it a lot." And like that, Ochako was getting up to change her clothes since the one she had now was completely drenched, but Izuku suddenly held her arms, his eyes looking straight at hers. "Izuku, is everything all right?" "No, not really." He started kissing her, exploring her mouth and catching some of the flavor on it, then proceeded to nibbling the tip and lobes of her right ear. Not only Ochako felt extremely aroused, she was confused about what he was doing and why so sudden, but she could wait a little longer to ask because he was doing an awesome job, and by no means she wanted him to stop. "Deku-kun, that was awesome." "What?" "I think I went to heaven for a second." "Oh my, who would know you could do that?" The now flustered teen scratched the back of his head nervously. "Well, I kind of made some research and ended up learning something." And by research he meant, "Do you mean you watched videos?" An invisible arrow crossed his chest. I just thought that I could get an idea of what to do. After all, I never did something like this and sorry." "Don't say that, Deku-kun. I'm very happy you did it." You are?" "Sure. You did it because you wanted to know what you were doing, because you cared about how I would feel. It's so lovely." "I wouldn't call it lovely thought." "Well, you did your best, and I'm really happy. I mean it. Seriously, I'm really happy." "But you don't mind about me seeing another girl?" "What? No." "See? Even if you did, it isn't as if she was really there. This is the fun part about videos. Besides, I watched a couple of those too. I even found some doujinshis." "What? For real? How long have you been, attentive to me? You don't have to say if you don't want to." Let's see. Your fight with Todoroki-kun was pretty flashy, but you were showing up a lot during the training camp. I was completely beaten at that time. Did you really pay attention to me in that way?" "Well, not at the time, but after the dust sat down it crossed my mind. Oh, I know, after you fought Overhaul, I definitely started to look closer at you. You know, you get extremely sexy when you work out at the gym. Care to do some sit-ups without the shirt next time you go there?" Sure, but I have to ask, did you pass by the stalker phase?" Her eyes diverted from him for a second, finding the leaves of the tree nearby a lot interesting. She gave up with a sigh and lowered her head a bit, even getting a light tinge of red on her face. "Well, yes, I wasn't very secure of myself back then. You know, the competition is kinda hard." "Huh? What competition?" Midoriya asked as they finally got up and started to clean up the mess and themselves. "For starts, I'm not the tallest of the girls in class, and well," she kind of muttered the next part. "My jugs aren't that big, and I think I could lose some numbers on my waist. And I'm not the brightest mind in the class, and all that without counting the other classes. Okay, that's enough." "What?" She looked up at Midoriya, who had his eyes closed as if he was thinking of something. Then he turned around and looked her straight in her eyes, holding her shoulders gently. "I don't think I should say it because it's like a fact, but I guess you have hear it. Ochako, you are perfect. I didn't really care much about your looks when I first fell for you. And if you don't know yet, I find you to be really sexy, and I can't believe I said that out loud." While Midoriya entered in a spiral of anxiety, Uraraka let his words sink for a moment. So he didn't care that much about her looks. Sure, he made it clear that he found her very attractive, but what counted was the interior. Maybe he's saying I'm really good at sec? Well, I'm sure he thinks that, but that would be too much for Deku-kun, even internally. "Is that so?" Midoriya broke from his nerve wreck and focused back on Uraraka, who lifted her head again with the brightest of the smiles. "I have to say, Deku-kun, you really are a bad boy." I am? Yeah, no one should be so sweet, so cute, so handsome at the same time. This made his blush instantly. Midoriya had a serious problem with receiving compliments, mostly because he didn't got these much as a kid. Uraraka then walked ahead of his and then turned around playfully. Seriously, you could get every girl in here if you wanted. She pouted as if she was mad, and Midoriya couldn't help but find her puffed cheeks completely adorable. Well, I don't think I need to, right? He said as he walked up to her side. I don't know, maybe you are too much for me alone? Nah, I'm keeping you for myself as long as I can. She jumped up and wrapped her arms around his neck. They were still far from the main building, so there was no one near to see them. As long as you can? Don't you mean forever? Midoriya said, failing to completely hide the nervousness in his voice. I'm not dumb, Deku-kun. Someday you can get enough of me, and then maybe look for someone else. That's why I want to make the best of every moment I got with you. No regrets, right? This time Midoriya hugged Uraraka by her waist, pulling her closer to him. He didn't mind the blush or the heat of his face and completely ignored the feeling that his heart would explode. His words were clear and he didn't even stutter. I love you, Ochako, and I'm yours to keep, all right? Aw, you drive me crazy, Izuku. Can I accept that as a wedding proposal? Wedding? Well, it's pretty early, but if you want then maybe I can get a part-time job until we graduate and then. She stopped the mumbling train before it left station with her light laugh. Sorry, Deku-kun, you are so cute when you get nervous. No need to rush things, right? Also, thank you for being there for me. Always. Looking at them now, walking together and in silence, their heads leaned on each other and with smiles crossing their lips, one could say Midoriya and Ochako were just another pair of lovey-doves, enjoying the warmth of each other and talking about silly things and dreams for the future. But Hagakure Toru knew better. After all, she just saw Midoriya going wild over Uraraka, and the poor gravity girl couldn't do nothing against it. She saw it. Not all of it, her eyes didn't handle it, but she clearly saw Midoriya lacking trousers and underwear, invading Uraraka's private places with his fingers. She hid behind the corner full of shame, fear, and confusion. What if they saw her? No, the real problem would be if he saw her. Uraraka needed help, but Hagakure wasn't sure if she could help, knowing Midoriya and his powerful quirk. She dared to look again, slowly poking her head around the edge and completely oblivious to the fact that she was invisible, and the next thing she saw was Midoriya with his face buried in the middle of Uraraka's open legs, which instantly made her react by bringing her hands down there in a protective way. They were a little bit far, but she could hear the noises Uraraka was making, the poor girl. She could not even imagine what she was going through right now to scream like that, which only made her feel even more guilty. When she heard Uraraka scream loud and then go silent, she panicked and ran away as fast as she could, hiding in the first spot she found. What if he found her and decided she was the next? She didn't know that happened at the end back there, and Uraraka would have to forgive her. She didn't want to find out. Getting behind a large tree, she took good 5 minutes to catch her breath and get her heartbeat down to safe levels. That aside, she couldn't move right, for the sight of Midoriya, the boy that everyone found so unharmful, aside for himself and villains, was doing such a thing. That counted as crime, right? Was he going to turn into a villain? What if he was bad all the time? Could he be responsible for all the attacks that they suffered before? No, stay calm, Toru. Just think about it. Midoriya-kun wouldn't fight so much and break all his bones every time if he really was a villain. Or would he? No, he isn't a villain in secret. But what he did, why did he do it? Didn't he like Uraraka-chan? Could it be that? He liked her too much? Oh, this is bad. I thought that she liked him too, but what if she don't? Oh no, does this mean she will never get married? Hagakure was interrupted in her line of thought when she heard some familiar voices. She looked around the tree and saw Midoriya and Uraraka walking together and hugging each other. The first thing she thought was that maybe Midoriya would force her to say she was his girlfriend. He could easily do it, with all the strength he had. and being the good friend she was, Hagakure had decided to help her friend Uraraka out of this huge problem and knock some sense on that green-haired head. He was still a friend after all, and so she moved from her hideout, making another way around to the main building in UA to find her friends. She felt that she would need help. Unfortunately, the lunch was over and she had to go back to the classroom. There she couldn't focus on whatever Aizawa-sensei was talking, her eyes darting from Uraraka to Midoriya, then to the clock and back to Uraraka. One of the advantages of being invisible was that when you weren't paying attention to something in specific, no one noticed. But after all that time teaching the one a class, Aizawa mastered the ability to detect such deviations of attention, like a spider sense or something like that. And the solution comes in this way: Hagakure. Hagakure. Oh here. The answer. 13. Well, I doubt that the first emperor of the Tokugawa won his first battle at that age. I suggest that you read again that section of the book and make a resume of at least 2 pages. Okay, no one noticed, but she lowered her head. And try to pay attention on the lesson. Okay. Now they noticed because her head was on the desk. After that went the hero training, and in the way to change into their training clothes, none other than Midoriya walked up to Hagakure. Hagakure-san, if why you want I can help you out with these lessons. Don't worry, I can handle it. Really? I don't mind. But I do. I feel like I have to do it myself. Besides, I'm sure you are pretty busy with your training. Yeah. That is true, but I could skip one day to... Oh, please don't. I'd hate to get in your way. To training, that is. I should go, bye. And just like that she darted to the girls' locker room, leaving a confused and embarrassed Midoriya behind. Did I said something wrong? Don't worry, Midoriya-kun, I'm sure she means it when she says she needs to do it herself. As heroes in training, we all should do our best to overcome our difficulties, Ida said proudly as he comforted his shorter friend with a hand on his shoulder. I guess so. And by the work of destiny, the hero training ended up being a game of tag, but in teams of 2, one tied to another. The objective was to steal the headband of the opposing team, similar to the chivalry battle. And of course Hagakure would end up facing Midoriya. Why not? Her partner was Kirishima, and he was as hyped as usual. They were against Midoriya and Kota, not a particularly strong combination, but still, she had to face Midoriya. The result, which surprised practically everyone except for Bakugo, who kept swearing, and Uraraka, who kept saying Midoriya would win, was a victory to Kota and Midoriya. It all ended with one attack, after lots of talking, that is, knowing that Kirishima wouldn't leave any openings and that Kota wasn't exactly the most outgoing person, even compared to him, the Greenette formed a plan and then proceeded to convince Kota in helping. Using his quirk, the shy boy called a group of crows, which swarmed around the hardened quirk user and invisible girl, distracting him. With that opening, Midoriya used full cowl and launched them at their target. Being the stubborn guy he was, Kirishima held Midoriya in place, managing to keep both him and Kota away from Hagakure, who had the headband, but the invisible girl panicked when Midoriya tried to reach for it while Kirishima held him down. She rolled up the redhead's back and entered on the range of Kota, who easily stole the headband, much for his and Hagakure's relief. After the match, everyone got around Kota, making the poor boy a pile of nerves while Kirishima complained with himself about this lose not being very manly. As for Hagakure, well, she got as much distance as she could from the quirk inheritor. Class was over, and as soon as everyone got out of the shower, the invisible girl ran from her room to Yaoyorozu's room, where the other girls would make a study group. Hagakure just bust the door open, closing it quickly after her and startling her friends in the meantime, but the bigger shock would come now. Girls, Midoriya was between Uraraka's legs. Todoroki wasn't nowhere close to them, but the room instantly froze. It took Hagakure a moment to realize that Uraraka herself was also invited to the group, so maybe, just maybe, that wasn't the best way to give the news. Lucky enough, she didn't see the brunette here, so she was safe. As for the others, what? I said that Midoriya got. Don't repeat that, please. Gyro was the first to manifest. Hagakure-san, gossiping is a very bad habit, even more with this kind of topic. Yayurazu, still shocked from the sudden information, couldn't help but act as the more mature in the room. Ashido on the other side. Oh my girl, where did you hear that? Here, girl, I saw it with my eyes. The memory of the event made her shudder. Ribbit. As shocking as it sounds, I really doubt that Midoriya would do something like that. I agree. Those two are falling for each other since the start of the year, and we didn't see them getting slightly closer. I'd even say it is impossible for them before we graduate, Gyro said. They all kind of agreed with it, but that didn't remove the blush on everyone's faces. The simple suggestion of them maybe doing something like that, well, the girls had a little bit of imagination, right? Toru, what do you mean exactly by between her legs? For once Mina was feeling very uncomfortable and embarrassed. Exactly what it seems. Can you please talk louder? Oh, sorry, Momo-chan. By the way, shouldn't Uraraka be here too? She said she had something to do and would come another day, Ribbit. That made their minds trail back to that thought again, but they quickly banished the mental image. Well, as I said before, I mean exactly what I say. And how did you find that out, Toru? Mina was so embarrassed she was even looking kinda downwards and pushing her index fingers together. Well, remember when we were talking about how these two always seem to vanish at the same time? So I got out and saw them walking away to somewhere, and I followed because I got curious. At some point I lost them and just wandered around, but then I heard some noise coming from behind one of the gyms, and I came to see what it was. I thought it was a cat, but I ended up seeing Midoriya putting his fingers on Uraraka's. Ah, stop! Too much details. Gyro even covered her ears. Hagakure-san, this is a very serious situation. It could get you in a lot of trouble if it came to their knowing, or of the teachers, that you are telling this story around. But Momo-chan, I saw it, I swear. As much as I'd like to see Ochako-chan being bold enough to confess to him, Ribbit, this is way over the limit. Aw, come on girls. Mina, back me up here. Sorry Toru, but it is really hard to believe that Midoriya the nerve wreck would make a move like that. But I've really seen it. Midoriya with his face buried in Uraraka's. Toru covered her mouth to stop herself from continuing, but she already said too much. Inside the girls' minds, something broke like a glass in millions of tiny pieces. The mental image of the green-haired boy and the brunette doing that, lewd thing, it was too much. The cold of the room soon turned into an uncomfortable and unwelcome heat. After all, they weren't completely oblivious to this topic, given their age. Once again Momo felt that it was up to her to act as a more mature person. That'll be well then. As serious as it seems, we should not jump to conclusions. They didn't notice you, right? Well, no. So there was some distance between you and them, right? But then they could be doing something else. Who knows, maybe someone with an illusion quirk played a prank on you. Yeah, it could be that, Toru. Not you too, Mina. Ribbit, how about we keep an eye on them, Ribbit, just to be safe? And if we find something strange, we stop them and ask the questions. I guess it could work, Kyoka-chan, but still, what do I do about what I saw, trick or not? Just try not to focus on it, okay? You'll forget about it soon. Mina said that, but the simple idea of the dynamic duo being this intimate got cauterized in the back of their minds. Everyone felt uneasy and a little bit warm, and they couldn't help but wonder what was it that Ochako had to do that she couldn't come to the study group they decided to do 3 weeks ago. Pure thoughts, focus on pure thoughts. Following the start of a plan they formed, the weekend passed by with the group of girls watching the possible couple from the distance, sometimes asking things in a way that wasn't suspicious, hoping that they would let something slip. Unfortunately, or maybe not, the two seemed pretty normal, no big deal. Hagakure insisted on what she said, and so they decided to keep an eye on them during the next week too. Now, instead of not find any signs, they started to seem the two slightly getting closer. The details were pretty subtle, but they were there. An exchange of looks during the classes, sharing small bits of their food, sitting a little closer to each other, talking more and openly cheering for each other during the hero training. And of course, there were those smiles that never left their faces. If it wasn't for the actual situation, they would be very happy that Uraraka and Midoriya finally noticed the mutual feelings. By the end of the week, pretty late in the night, they all were gathered in Yayurazu's room. After finishing the homework, they discussed about the couple and what Hagakure had supposedly seen. I guess it settles it. As far as I can see, they are finally getting together, but not in an illicit way. Yeah, I agree. So Toru, do you have any idea of who could play a prank on you? Mina, Momo-chan, I know what I've seen. Even if it was the case, it's your word against theirs, Ribbit. We didn't find any proof of it, Ribbit. Just try to forget it, Hagakure-chan. You just say that because you didn't see it with your own eyes, Kyoka-chan. I feel like it got marked by fire in the back of my mind. If it is the effect of a quirk, we could find the user and ask him to undo it. Good idea. Oh, I bet Midoriya could help out. No, please don't. Geez, Toru, relax. I know you had been kind of on the edge, but come on, we are talking about Midoriya here. Hagakure let her head fall and let out a sigh. She was tired, mostly because she didn't have a lot of quality sleep during last week. We should get ready to bed. We have a special class tomorrow. Don't remind me of that. Who had the idea of having a class on Saturday? At least it will be a hero training, Ribbit. Well, whatever. Night, girls. Everyone dismissed and left to their own rooms, soon falling on the beds, but Hagakure didn't feel like sleeping. She removed her blankets and walked to the balcony, opening the glass door and leaning on the short wall as she let the cold breeze brush her hair. The night sky was full of stars today, without clouds, and the moon was full and with a bluish glow. She kind of lost the track of time looking up at the sky. Her mind wandered, so she didn't have to think about that other topic. But then something in the corner of her eye caught her attention. A figure, illuminated by the moonlight, climbing the wall of the building, jumping to the balcony of the 5th floor and then to the roof. She looked closer, trying to figure out what or who was it. It came from, let's see, the 4th floor. I am on the 3rd floor with Kyoka-chan. Mina's room is the one above mine, and on the 5th floor there's Momo-chan and Su-chan, so that is Ochako's room. And then that dreaded image came to her mind. Oh no, she wasn't going to his room, right? Would she confront him to let her go? But what if he caught her again? The invisible girl then rushed out of her room, going from room to room and waking up the other girls. Toru, it's 2 in the morning. Mina, hurry up. Ochako-chan may be in trouble. What? I saw someone climbing up the building, and I think it came from her room, so I... Oh my gosh, could it be a villain attack? No, I don't think. You wake up the boys, I'll get the girls. Meet me at Ochako's room. Wait, I don't think that, and she's gone. After 5 desperate minutes, all the girls were in front of Uraraka's room and found Toru, and only Toru, waiting at the door. Toru, what happened? The boys didn't wake up. What? No, I didn't call them. If you had listened to me, you would know what this is about. And still sleepy Yayurazu stepped in and spoke. Then what is the reason for all this noise? Yawn. I think that Ochako-chan went to Midoriya's room to face him. I guess he forced her to do it, maybe. Hagakure-san. Wait, look at it. Hagakure opened the door and showed them the room completely empty. Now, I bet that she's at Midoriya's room. Will you go with me? The girls looked at each other. Now their suspicions were up. Well, checking wouldn't harm, right? They went to the boys' side of the dorm and quietly walked by the corridor, reaching for Midoriya's room. They hesitated for a bit, looking at each other. They even whispered, afraid to wake up someone. What will we say if he wakes up? Ribbit. We could say we saw something outside and thought it could be a villain. Well, what are we waiting for then? Toru, open it. What? Why me? Well, this was kind of your idea. Kyoka-chan, that's not fair. Okay, let me do it. I can deal with Midoriya later. Taking the lead, Momo-chan? Ribbit? Someone has to. The sooner we do it. Yaoyorozu turned the knob. I was locked. She looked behind her, and all the others had those expectant looks, waiting for her to act. She sighed and waved her head as she created a small lockpick. The others took a mental note to talk about Yaoyorozu's hidden ability later. The lock clicked, and she turned the knob again, opening the door oh so slowly so it wouldn't make noise. The room was slightly less dark than the corridor because of the moonlight shining through the glass door, which was open, letting the cold breeze enter a little bit. They entered almost together, one glued on the other, their eyes getting used to the darkness, and then, when they looked to the side, most specifically to Midoriya's bed, they saw Uraraka and Midoriya, the former currently with her head lowered between the latter's legs and with her mouth busy. Only because Mina knocked her foot on the desk and made a noise that the couple noticed the guests. Time has stopped. Midoriya and Uraraka slowly, really slowly, turned their heads to the side, finding a bunch spectators while they were on their activities. Uraraka never let go of his deck. As for the girls standing up, they had to take a whole minute to process what was happening in front of them, due to the shock of the scene itself, and because now they knew how Hagakure felt. The image got cauterized on their minds, and they wouldn't get rid of it for a very long time. Midoriya. Yaoyorozu, Hagakure, and Ishido shouted, but covered their mouths almost instantly because they would wake up everyone in the dorms. Kind of screaming while whispering, Yaoyorozu was the first to speak. Midoriya, what in the world does this mean? Are you insane? Why, Yaoyorozu-san, I can explain. Explain? I want to see you try, you worthless pervert. Uraraka finally got up, recovered from her own shock, and was quick to try and help her Deku-kun. Wait a minute, girls. This is not what it seems. Ochako, what the hell? You was. I cannot even finish it. Mina-chan, girls, just calm down and listen. Yes, just let us explain and... I can't believe this happened to you, Ochako-chan. Ribbit, Midoriya, what have you done? I told you guys I saw them before. Midoriya and Uraraka tensed. So Toru saw them, but what did she saw and when? Did she knew they were doing it, or she spotted them kissing behind the bushes? Shit, Mina was there too. The word would spread like a wildfire. No, they wouldn't do it. At least they hoped so. Midoriya, you're so dead. Not once had they seen Kyoka so serious, to the point that Midoriya let out a yep and backed to the wall, revealing his naked glory in the moonlight for everyone to see. The group froze in place again, terror and embarrassment plastered on their faces as another mental image was carved deep on their minds. After realizing his move, Midoriya had the minimum of consideration to cover his, let's say, impressive length with his hands, his face completely red. Taking advantage of the short lapse, Uraraka jumped from the bed and stood in between the aggressive girls and her precious boyfriend, her arms wide open. Wait up, don't get near him. PTSS Ochako. What? I can see it all from here. Oh, right. She picked up her long shirt on the bed and wore it, barely covering her. For now that would do, at least in her head. Uraraka-chan, I should warn you that this isn't a good place to be right now. In front of that pile of trash, I mean. Yaoyorozu had a serious look on her eyes and Uraraka could see a menacing aura around the group of 5. Wow, do I get like this when I'm serious? I don't think so. You guys got things wrong. Ochako-chan. Ribbit, you don't have to defend him. We can take care of it. No, you don't understand. Deku-kun did nothing wrong. Are you out of your mind? He got you naked on his bed. Well, yes, but Ishido-chan. Talk no longer. No matter what he said he would do to you, you don't have to do what he wants. Now, Midoriya, come here so I can tie you on a straight jacket and throw you on the nearest river. Boy, Yaoyorozu was seeing red. Hey, I can use my acid with he doesn't die, right? Now you all stop. The last shout was loud and clear, which made the girls flinch. Uraraka then went back to whispering. Are you even listening to yourselves? How can you even think about hurting Deku-kun? Ochako, look, if he said something to force you into this then. No, he didn't, Ashido-chan. What? Uraraka took a deep breath. I'm here because I want to. And I was doing what I was doing because I wanted to. The girls got taken back by the honest and unexpected answer. This wasn't likely for Uraraka to do, not in the slightest. No, something was wrong. Something had to be wrong. Maybe Midoriya had a second quirk of mind control, or maybe he asked someone else, but Uraraka couldn't be doing it by her own will. That was not possible. The anger melted into worry for the Gravity Girl. The poor thing must have suffered some kind of brainwash, or maybe he threatened her with his quirk, or even blackmailed her with some kind of past secret. And so, deciding that the well-being of Uraraka came ahead of serving justice to Midoriya, Yaoyorozu put a hand on Uraraka's shoulder, confusing the girl. Don't worry, we'll work this out, okay? Huh. Ashido was the next one. We won't tell to nobody. Promise. And with that, they moved out of the room, pushing Uraraka all the way while she tried to resist. No, wait, you didn't get it again. And she was already out. As for the 5 girls standing on the door, they turned around for a second to send a death stare towards the green-haired teen, now covered by his blanket. Midoriya felt like he was looking at death itself. They moved out and closed the door, leaving him alone with tons of questions and scenarios in development about what would happen next. And of course, a deep feeling of fear for his life that he had never felt before. On Yaoyorozu's room, they all gathered around Uraraka, asking what happened and what Midoriya did to make her do it, and the girl was getting more and more frustrated with each question. As I said before, I went there by my own. There is no point in hiding it now. He is not here, and we won't judge you. For the 11th time, Yaoyorozu-chan, I wanted to do it. Do you remember what happened last week, dear? Yes, Ashido-chan, perfectly. No one brainwashed me. Damn, whoever did it made a good job. Oh, for the love of can I go now? Ribbit, I don't think you should be alone. He could get to you while you sleep, Ribbit. Well, that would be a lovely surprise, but Deku-kun isn't that forward, at least for now. How many times? We made love with each other. I don't know, 20, 30, maybe. Terror was stamped on the girls' faces. Tea that much? Yeah, maybe. Oh right, Toru, you said you saw us before. When was it? Well, at last Friday, behind one of the gyms. Oh, dang it, I knew I should have looked around. Well, I can't cry over the spilled milk. Now, if you excuse me, I have some unfinished business with. Kyoka held her by the wrist, a serious and concerned look on her eyes. Uraraka-chan, you don't need to go back. Uraraka returned with a smile, even if she failed to hide the annoyance she felt. I know. He cannot harm you. He won't. Yaoyorozu pulled her down again, in a gentle yet stern way. She also had a serious face. Uraraka-chan, I know you harbor some feelings for Midoriya, but we have to tell this to the teachers. Who knows, he can even avoid expulsion and… Are you still implying that he abused me? Ochako, there's no shame in admitting it. There is when it's not true, Ashido-chan. We all know Deku-kun wouldn't harm me in any way. Can you stop that? Stop what, Kyoka-chan? Stop calling him that. You don't consider him your friend after that, right? Of course not. We are much more than friends. It's been a week since he became my boyfriend. Your what? Ribbit, I have to agree with Mina-chan. This is a bad idea, Ribbit. I'll say it one more time. I was with Deku-kun because I wanted to. He didn't force me, neither harmed me. Ochako, stop being so stubborn. Me? Stubborn? Then tell me Yaoyorozu, who is still talking shit about what they don't know, huh? They all became silent. As wrong as it seemed, Uraraka really went there because she wanted, but they were still at denial. Midoriya, he must have done something to her. I thought you girls would be happy that me and Deku-kun got together. Guess I was wrong, she said as she stomped out of the room. Uraraka-chan. What? You are not using any panties. I know. And then she left to her room, falling on her bed and burying her face into her pillow. Deku-kun would have to forgive her, but she wasn't in the mood, for once in almost a month. Saturday morning came and Midoriya didn't have a single minute of proper sleep due to the terror of being caught in the act with Uraraka and also because of a certain unfinished business. So in order to stay conscious at least during the special class, he went to the bathroom and took a cold shower. After that he grabbed something for breakfast and quickly moved to ground beta where the special class would occur. There, alone with his thoughts, he let his mind wander to his girlfriend, inevitably thinking about what would happen now. The shocked faces of the girls were as fresh on his mind as the menacing ones. Leaning on the gate, he ended falling half asleep, and didn't notice when his classmates arrived. Most of them got surprised that he was up so early, but thought that was just an habit of him. The girls, on the other hand, were internally thinking how could he even sleep after what he did. Soon Aizawa-sensei appeared, rolled up on his sleeping bag and with huge marks under his eyes. He mentioned that he had to revise the homework of the last week, but maybe he was getting too much of it alone. Anyway, he just introduced the objective of the special class, increase the teamwork in uncommon and disbalanced situations, along with planning in advancement and reaction to sudden events. That said, he just rolled out to somewhere else while the responsible teacher carried on with the class. I'm here to take care of the special class. All Might, cheered the students. All Might appeared in his muscular form, then instantly blew off smoke and the skeletal form of Yagi Toshinori appeared. Since the last flames of One for All vanished, this was kind of the way that All Might greeted the others. It was kind of funny when you got used to it. A towering and muscular form puffing out into a short and skinny man. The support team made some adjustments on his uniform, so even when he was on Small Might form it wasn't 4 times larger than him. Even after all that happened, All Might was still the symbol of peace. Good morning, young students. It is quite unusual having classes on Saturdays, but we have a lot of ground to cover on your path to becoming pro heroes. Now, for the activity of today, it will be a game of capture the flag with some special rules. Cool. Alright, I'm getting flared up. Let me finish first. Well then, you'll be grouped in 2 opposing teams of 5 each, chosen randomly. This simulates real-life situations in which you have to work together with whoever is at the place. The objective is to take the enemy flag and carry it back to your base. You can select any place to hide your flag and make your base. I see, this way we'll need to take care of our flag and also think of a way to discover where the other one is. As expected from the teachers of UA, always thinking ahead. Ida-kun, there are more rules. Oh, I'm really sorry, sensei. Right? Well, you can use any type of strategy you think about. The match is over if the enemy carry your flag to their base, but you can try to retrieve it while they steal it. Also, there's a time limit of 15 minutes. In this case, the winner will be the team that manages to hold the enemy's flag, even out of their base, and no, you are not allowed to carry your own flag around. What about the special rules? Ribbit. There will be a total of 6 villains around the city, completely random too. Their only objective is to get in the way of both teams. What? Most of the students said. Villains most of the time commit crimes just because they feel like. They put people in danger and destroy things, all because of selfish desires. As heroes in training, you need to learn how to deal with this type of obstacle and also focus on the objective in front of you. Think about a person that you have to carry to the hospital, or a hostage or victim of an accident. Everyone suddenly got more serious. There was this thing about All Might that, even on his Small Might form, he inspired the others to do what was right, exceed the expectations, go beyond. The symbol of peace was really indestructible in that way. They passed to sorting out the teams, and the first one was Yaoyorozu Momo, Hagakure Toru, Shiro Hanta, Shoji Mizo, and Midoriya Izuku. The second team, Kaminari Denki, Kirishima Eijiro, Asui Tsuyu, Ashido Mina, and Sato Rikido. The villain of this round, Todoroki Shoto, Ojiro Mashirao, Maita Minoru, Jiro Kyoka, Ayama Yuga, and Bakugo Katsuki. The two teams got into ground beta by different ways while the villains scattered around. The remaining students and All Might went to the monitoring room. Turning on the speakers, he said, "You have 15 minutes. Game start." The horn soared, and immediately the teams started to make their moves. Team A. As soon as they found a good place to hide their flag, Midoriya started to form a plan. Considering his team members, it would be the best to leave Hagakure and Shoji at the base. Shoji could detect the enemy easily, and Hagakure's stealth nature would work better at the defense since she didn't have much physical capacity. As for him and Shiro, they would act as a first offensive line, taking advantage of the mobility the Tape Hero and him on Full Cowl had. But the main force would be Yaoyorozu. She didn't have the top skills in combat, but that wouldn't be a problem, being the strategist she was. His idea was to attract the attention to him and Shiro, giving her plenty of space to find the enemy base, sneak in, and steal the flag. That said, he also had to consider the other team and their components. Sato and Kirishima were bound to be on the offensive, given the nature of their quirks and their own personalities. As for Ishido and Tsuyu, well, they also had a lot of mobility, so there were some possibilities. They could act as scouts and cover more ground. They could also split and form two equal teams combining strength and agility, but Midoriya bet that they would just run in together while Kaminari's area of effect quirk acted as a defensive measure. That said, there were also the team of villains, but since they could run into any of them at any time, he didn't bother to plan anything now. The Greenette shared his thoughts with the team, and his mates pretty much agreed with everything. But he expected Yaoyorozu to add some details, or at least make a comment on their strategy, but the girl seemed to be determined in ignoring him. Hagakure herself kept quite a distance while they were inside the building they chose to hide the flag. Shiro and Midoriya were now moving across the city using the roofs to gain view of the area and possibly drag some attention to them. They were doing well and the plan seemed to be working, but maybe too well. All of a sudden, a sparkling beam of light crossed the air and cut Shiro's tape while he was in midair, resulting in him falling and rolling on the rooftop of a building. Midoriya saw that and instantly jumped back to help his partner, but almost got caught in a huge explosion, barely dodging it with a flip while in the air. He ran to Shiro and helped him up, then moving quickly to under a water tank. They then heard footsteps and a very known voice. "I'll make something clear for you, Deku. You are not going to get past this point," said Bakugo as small explosions formed into his hand, his face menacing and with a toothed grin. "Man, that's really bad." Facing Bakugo right in the start, it couldn't be worse. Shiro was about to jump out of the hideout, but Midoriya held him. "Not yet. Somewhere on the right buildings, Aoyama is watching us. He will cut your tapes before you can escape." "Then what will we do?" I'll think of something." Team B. Once they found a good place to hide the flag, Team B left to pursue the enemy flag while Kaminari stood at guard, just like Midoriya had predicted. In their heads, having Todoroki and Bakugo as villains was a major problem, enough to discard the idea of going alone. It could be a little bit slower, but they wouldn't find much difficulty to get past obstacles. A single and powerful offensive, going straight for the objective. Kirishima wisely added that Midoriya would have predicted that, and that they should end it as soon as possible. The team agreed with the redhead, mainly Mina and Tsuyu, but for other reasons. They didn't want to cross paths with the boy right now. And as the horn soared, they started to move, but before they could make any significant progress, like finding the direction of the enemy base, the first obstacle appeared in front of them, a huge iceberg out of nowhere. This was a very bad sign. On top of the cold mountain sitted the half-cold, half-hot team Todoroki Shoto with an amused face. "Oh, so I met with the Team B first. Maybe I should have insisted and not changed my direction with Bakugo." I bet he found Midoriya already. Down on the street, the group of students had nervousness plastered on their faces. "Man, this is bad." "Don't worry, Ishido. All we have to do is get past him." "Easier said than done, Kirishima-kun. A true man never quits a challenge." Except that we are girls, Ribbit. What matters is what is in your heart. Hey, you are not going to just ignore me, right? I know Todoroki draws attention, but I'm here too. Ojiro walked off an alley, surrounding the group of four and taking a fight stance. Now I have to work hard or else he will get the spotlight alone. Standing back to back, Team B found themselves in a pinch pretty soon. What should we do now? I don't know, Sato-kan. We have think of something. Team Yaoyorozu. She quietly moved around the streets and alleys, looking around every corner before sprinting to the next cover. Yaoyorozu even created a pair of binoculars to find the hideout from the distance, and she planted tripwires with small rattles as she passed by to prevent a surprise attack from behind. As much as she hated to admit it right now, Midoriya was very ingenious when it came to analyzing the present situation and planning in advance. It didn't pass 2 minutes, and she heard a loud explosion far away, coming from the direction the boys went to. In sequence, she saw with the binoculars a huge iceberg forming. Now she had a lead to the enemy base, but going straight to that way would be counterproductive, as there was a great chance of running into more villains or Team B. With that in mind, Yaoyorozu decided to make a small detour, but now she could move faster since she knew where she had to go. Sprinting across the street, she reached a large garage and entered it. Crossing it would be enough to avoid everyone and in a short time. The place was very dark and had lots of crates everywhere like a maze. She created a small candle since it was easier than an electric lantern and walked in the maze until she felt something attached to her ankle. Bringing the candle near it, her pupils shrunk as she realized what it was. A small purple sphere glued to her, and she knew pretty well where it came from, worse, from who it came from. And just like that she heard an ominous laugh echo in the place. Ha 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 ha, welcome to my web, little ladybug. You are on my hands now, Yaoyorozu. Minta, I should be worried, but I don't think I really should. Hey, I can hear you, you know. I can hear you too, you purple idiot. Gyro-san, she is here too. Why would she team up with Minta of all options? Shut up, forever flat, I'm talking to Yaoyorozu. What? Yaoyorozu-san is here? That little prick blew up my cover. Yaoyorozu-chan, don't move around. The grapehead covered the place with his purple thingies. Hey, you just told her my plan. Your stupid plan got me stuck in here too, stupid. It took a lot of time to think on this plan, okay? Well, just because you are just that dumb. What a poor excuse for a plan. Ha, you are the dumb one because you fell on that completely stupid plan created by me. Wait, didn't he just call himself stupid? It took some time for him to realize. Ah, I take back what I said. Thought they couldn't see each other, both Yaoyorozu and Gyro face-palmed. Yaoyorozu kept walking, taking care with every step while she held the candle near the ground. It was slow, but it was progress. She also noticed that Minta was moving around, given how his voice sounded earlier. She could not afford to let this little pervert get to her like in the sports festival. Still, the chances of ending bumping on him were high. The moment she got stuck on those purple spheres, she would lose. Being on the edge like that, she got startled when she faced none other than Gyro around a corner, with some spheres glued on her already. Gyro made a signal to keep quiet and plugged one of her jacks on a crate. Yaoyorozu understood what she was thinking and then created something. Gyro unplugged from the crate and then looked at something that was thrown near her foot. It was a small piece of paper, and she found something written on it. I have a plan. Gyro was listening. Team Midoriya and Zero. Get out, Deku. I'm going to blast you until you can't stand up. Geez, he's really aggressive. It could be worse, trust me. So what is the plan now? Zero asked while they kept hidden under the water tank. They tested already, and if Zero launched a tape to get out, Aoyama would cut it with his naval laser. And Bakugo was waiting for Midoriya out in the open. He wanted to fight, but he also doing his job and getting on their way, since Midoriya couldn't get out to take Aoyama and Zero didn't have a chance against the explosion quirk user in combat. Unless, Zero-san, I have an idea. but it's gonna be risky, and we have to act really fast. I'm listening. And then they got ready to act. Midoriya activated full cowl and made a running stance on the ground, while Shiro got ready to launch his tape. On the count of 3, Midoriya ran from the hiding spot and instantly jumped at Bakugo with his fist ready to strike. Bakugo widened his scary grin as he dodged the attack almost like a bullet with ease. Knowing how stupid Deku was, of course he would come for a direct hit once he got out of options. In a fluid motion, Bakugo twisted on his feet and brought his hand down, exploding the ground and Midoriya away, who only escaped it due to his momentum. Midoriya rolled out and quickly got to his feet, jumping out of the way of another blast punch. Bakugo kept going after him, destroying everything while Midoriya dodged his attacks by inches. "Deku, stop running away and die already." "As if I would do that. You are even more stupid if you think you can get past me." "I don't really need to, Shiro-san." At that moment Midoriya faked a jump to the side, instead closing the gap between him and Bakugo. The explosive teen reacted to the move in time, but not soon enough as Midoriya managed to hold him by his wrists and shove his arms down right before the explosion, which created a lot of dust. His plan, inspired in Uraraka, was to create enough dust in the roof so Aoyama's vision is blocked. He tested with Shiro, and he was sure that Aoyama would be in 1 or 2 specific buildings, given the angle of the lasers and from the distance that the boy could snipe like that. Using the opening, Shiro launched his tapes, but to 2 different directions. The laser cut one of them while the other glued on another building, and then he used his max strength to retract it, quickly exiting the place and swinging around the building in a low trajectory. Bakugo saw that and jumped to reach the tape hero, but the moment he got his feet out of the ground, he had to use his blasts to dodge from Midoriya. Smash! Midoriya barely missed, but he only had to buy some time for Shiro so he could keep going with the plan. He planted his hands on the ground and launched a vertical kick, forcing Bakugo to dodge again. Meanwhile, Shiro made his way around the buildings, avoiding Aoyama's line of sight. When the blonde teen found his opponent, it was too late. Shiro crashed through the window and immediately transformed him into a mummy of tape. The cocoon he made forced Aoyama to stand with his legs near his belly, so that way he wouldn't use his laser to cut the tape. "Sorry for the awkward position, Aoyama-kun. I'll get you out of it later." "Okay," said the Tide Boy, while some tears ran down his always sparkling face. Team B against Todoroki and Ojiro. "Do you think this will work, Ashido-san?" asked Kirishima while he blocked Ojiro's attacks with his hardening quirk. "This is the best I could think of." Ashido had to avoid another geyser of ice. Todoroki wasn't playing well, at least to them, since the boy had the most calmed face as he sat on top an ice block. He generated ice faster than her acid could melt, and whenever any of them tried to approach him, a wall of flames sprouted in the path. And to worsen things, Ojiro kept picking them on one-on-one fights, breaking their formation. It was a miracle that she managed to tell the plan without having to scream. Exchanging glances, they put the plan on motion. First, Kirishima changed his focus from Ojiro to Todoroki, going straight to the fire and ice teen. The tailed teen went after him, but had to deal with Ashido blocking his way. As for Kirishima, he ran past Sato, who grabbed him by the arm and made a power throw with him, sending the redhead like a cannonball at Todoroki. An ice wall appeared, but thanks to Kirishima's quirk it shattered to pieces. Now in close range, Kirishima had a chance to stop him, but he would still have to deal with the flames. They didn't exactly burn through his hard skin, but the heat was too much for him to handle, even with the extra protection his quirk gave him. Unless Red Riot Unbreakable. Todoroki knew it would end bad for him if he let Kirishima stay near him in this state, so he trusted in the strength of his friend and increased the amount of heat and flames he was projecting, completely engulfing him in a giant inferno. But what he didn't expect was to Kirishima to bust out of the flames, his arms stretched for behind, preparing a powerful blow. If he didn't react it on time and created an ice pillar in between them, he would fly much more than a few meters. Kirishima's punch completely broke through the ice and hit Todoroki, thought with much less force than he intended. "Seriously, are you sure you guys aren't monster?" said Todoroki as he got up, still with a smile on his face. "Says the guy that makes ice mountains out of nowhere and creates an instant hell." Kirishima also had his usual grin, but he seemed tired. In fact, his quirk was losing effectiveness and his skin became normal again. "Man, I need to work more on my resistance. Are you sure you can stop to breathe?" "Yeah, sure. I did my part." As he said that, the glacier Todoroki created first when he appeared shaked. He looked at it and saw Sato punching through it and opening a hole, then giving way to Tsuyu, who was quick to cross it and leave the place as fast as her legs allowed her. "Oh, now I understand, but I cannot let you do as you want. You have to face me now." Sato ran to Todoroki with his fists ready to punch him, but he reacted quickly by creating another ice wall, but this one was thinner than the last he made. Hey, you seem to be running out of ice," Todoroki-sen. "And what about you, Sato? How many sugar bars have you eaten already?" "Who knows, Tie." Meanwhile, Ashido was still holding Ojiro. She was happy that her plan worked out. Tsuyu was one of the fastest around and had problems with both the flames and ice of Todoroki, so she had to get out of here first. But for that they would have to distract Todoroki so Sato could break the barrier and keep Ojiro away at the same time. Luckily for her, Ashido was very athletic, and while it didn't exactly compare to his martial arts skills, she was handling him pretty well. The main deal was his tail. Since she couldn't hope to win in power, she wanted to take him down by throwing him out of balance using his own strength, but that damn tail was very useful, and Ojiro refused to meet the floor. Not only that, that tail was also very unpredictable and dangerous. And then another idea popped on her mind. She started to run around him, rather skidding with her acid, barely avoiding the blonde teen's attacks. "Oi, Ashido-san, stay put, will you? I won't hit too hard," he teased. "Not gonna happen, mate. I plan to win this." As she said that, she launched some drops of acid at Ojiro, who used his tail to jump high and avoid it. "You have to do better than that if you want to stop me." "Ha! I already got you where I wanted." When Ojiro landed, he understood what she meant. The floor was covered in a viscous liquid, and he fell right before he landed. His tail was useless as a counterweight if he couldn't keep his feet firmly on the ground. He kept slipping on the slime until he felt a sudden weight over him. Ashido had melted a lamp post at the base, making it fall over him. It wasn't very heavy, but without a proper place to firm his hands and feet, he wasn't going anywhere. Well, that was unexpected. "Don't worry, I'll get you out of it later." As she said that, something went flying above her head. Some minutes before, Siro reached the place and saw the confusion. He didn't understand what was really happening, but he knew that getting involved in it was a bad idea. He had to get past them without letting them a chance to catch him, so he launched tape on the buildings and took some steps back, making an inhuman slingshot. As the tension on the tape reached the maximum, he jumped up and retracted, flying at high speeds over Team B and villains, much to Ashido's surprise. "Oh no, you are not getting away." The pink-skinned girl ran after him, changing to slide with her acid to try and catch up with him. Todoroki thought about going after them, but he was forced to stay as Sato was now throwing ice blocks at him. He could melt them with his flames, but he knew that the objective was to hold him in place. "TSC, I should have ended it sooner, huh?" Team Ayayurazu. "Minta, when I find you, you are going to get a beat like you never seen before," Gyro shouted while Yayurazu was needed on the floor, busy creating something. "Would you shut up, please? Now, Yayurazu-sen, I bet you are covered with my balls already, hehe, my balls." Gyro felt her eyes twitch. She was beyond angry, and the purple annoyance kept with that little game of him. She was also angry with herself because she ended stuck in here. The game started, and she just wandered through the place, sure that she would end crossing someone's path. She had decided to use this area in specific because the buildings were closer to each other, and she could use her quirk to detect people nearby, but she entered this garage, and when she noticed there were 3 purple spheres stuck on her clothes. So that was what the tiny pervert was doing. Listen up, you midget. You are going to have a bad time, trust me. Huh? What was that? I cannot hear you under your flat chest. That doesn't make any sense, stupid, she shouted while plugging one of her jacks on a crate. It doesn't have to make sense because you are flat. I'm gonna kill him, I'm sure. As tempting as it sounds, we cannot do that. I know, Yaoyorozu-chan. You ready? Ready. Now we need to find the grapehead. Leave that to me, he keeps running his mouth non-stop. With that, they started to move, careful to avoid the traps Minta laid around. Every 10 steps Gyro used her quirk to locate the little pervert. How can be so many of those things? As soon as we entered ground beta, he ran away. Guess he found this place and kept throwing those things around. Yeah, sure, but there was a limit, right? Ha, and for what do you think my training was? Let me tell you that my limit go doubled, no triplicated. He's making this up, right? Of course, Gyro-chan. Hey, I mean it. How many balls do you think are around? Don't know, don't care. All I know is that soon you'll be seeing stars. All talk and no chest. I kind of feel sorry for you sometimes. Keep talking, you won't see what hit you. Like you could do anything. Even if Yaoyorozu helped you, there's no way you could find me. Oh, is that so? Of course, Yaoyorozu. I mean, it's not like she can see anything in here and I don't need to see when you can't keep your mouth shut for a damn minute. Minta felt a chill run down his spine as he looked up, the heads of Gyro and Yaoyorozu hovering over him. It could be the lack of light, but their faces were pretty scary right now. Well look, I'm sorry I made such a silly trap. I didn't have any hidden intentions behind it or anything. Gyro cracked her knuckles while Yaoyorozu snapped what seemed to be a belt. She also had some kind of clothing on her hand. Minta gulped. He knew he was screwed. And so, the grape-head boy ended with a dizzy head, his ears ringing a bit, tied on a straight jacket upside down, and with additional restraints in the form of leather belts tightly wrapped around his small body. And just because he talked shit a lot, he also earned a belt over his mouth. Small tears of regret fell from his eyes, not from having this idea, but from wasting a justificable chance to grope Yaoyorozu. Outside the garage, the two girls let out a tired sigh of relief. Yaoyorozu took some steps back while she created a staff and took a fight stance, leaving Gyro with a confused face. Huh? What are you doing? Well, you are on the whole a villain, right? Oh, that. Well, All Might said that villains do what they want, and I'm not in the mood for that right now. So let's just say you won, okay? What, really? Yeah. Look, I have some things on my head right now, if you know what I'm talking about. Oh, that, if it helps, I don't think he will be coming over here. Oh, that's nice. Well, you should be going. One thing, don't take the main road. Todoroki is near this place. Thanks. See you later. And while Yaoyorozu resumed her task, Gyro found a place to just lay down, the two of them with a certain green-haired boy on their heads. Team Midoriya. Bakugo was mad. He was sure because whenever he got that way his left eye twitched and he kept grinding his teeth. Seriously, one day he would shatter his own teeth, Midoriya always warned him. So you want to take a beat so much, huh? I don't plan to take that option. So, in other words, you are saying that you plan to win. Yes, Kachin. I'll make you know your place. A huge blast propelled Bakugo forward, and a second one made him spin in the air, dealing a great impact on the ground as he missed Midoriya by inches. He kept after him, throwing explosive punches that barely missed the green-haired boy. Midoriya was clearly on the defensive, which only made Bakugo even angrier. Did he think he could win by just running away? Well, running away was what Deku did because he was Deku. Still, that pissed Bakugo off. Deku should just give up and lay dead on the floor. Deku, are you playing with me? As if I had time for that. Midoriya made a fake step and closed in to Bakugo while he threw a punch. Like it would work twice. I know that. Midoriya dived under Bakugo, dodging another blast. He planted his hands on the ground and used his shoot style to kick Bakugo on his side. Though a strong blow, Bakugo managed to hold it, maybe by sheer rage, and grabbed Midoriya's leg, spinning him and slamming the boy on the floor. Midoriya got up a bit dizzy and Bakugo held him on an arm lock, threatening to explode him on point blank. "Give up, Deku, and maybe I'll let you get out with just scorches. You should know that by now, Kachin, giving up is not an option." Midoriya jumped up with full cowl, getting both of them high. Then, using his free arm, he got a hold on Bakugo's shirt and twisted them in the air. Oklahoma smash. The force of the spin sent Bakugo flying away, crashing on another building while Midoriya landed. With that, the quirk inheritor gave a last glance at his rival before dashing away. He spent more time than he intended in here, so he had to get back to the plan quickly. He ran and jumped through the rooftops, looking around to see if he could find Zero, but he ended spotting someone else, Asui. He didn't think that Team B would split in individual lines. That said, and given the distance she traveled, something must have happened to Team B similar to him and Zero. So somewhere else Team B and/or his teammates could be facing the other villains, Todoroki being the first to come to his mind. He had to decide between go after them for support or prevent Asui from finding their hideout. At this rate, they would have to deal with Bakugo and/or Todoroki, and considering her agility, just defensive measures wouldn't delay the Frog Girl for long, resulting in them having to recover their flag while facing the villains. By estimative, Yaoyorozu should be near the enemy base, and if luck was at his side, Zero wouldn't be far behind. That said, the members of Team B that could handle the half-cold, half-hot teen were Kirishima and Sato, and Tsuyu was right here, leaving Kaminari on the base and Ishido as an unknown variable. Making a detour could help Midoriya to lose Bakugo for longer. Alright then. Tsuyu was running, or jumping, as fast as she could. She saw Zero moving through the building not a minute ago, and used the direction he came as a reference to the location of the enemy base. Judging by the way he was going, she decided that speed was more important than discretion right now. But she ended regretting it as a figure covered in sparks bounced from wall to wall, skidding to a halt in front of her. A frown formed on her face, in a way she didn't manage to hide. From all people to appear. "Sorry, Tsuyu-san, I won't let you go past here." She just stood there, unmoving, no, not completely. She was shaking a little bit, her head down and her hands balled in tight fists. Something was off with her. "Why, you?" "Huh, Tsuyu-san, I didn't hear what you—" "Why it had to be you?" She looked up and Midoriya was shocked as he was confronted with an expression he had never saw at his friend's face. Complete anger. "Tsuyu-san, what's wrong?" "Don't call me that way." He knew why she was that way. He ignored until now, but it was clear that all the girls were acting differently around him. Of course they would, after what happened. But he wanted to believe that this would get resolved itself with time, or at least that it wouldn't influence on their cooperation as heroes in training. Guess he was wrong. Who he was kidding. What happened couldn't just be ignored like that, but still Midoriya had hope that his friends would forgive him, eventually. "Asui-san, I don't think this is the best moment or place to discuss this." "You are right, but I cannot help it, Ribbit. I want to punch you in your face too bad." "Ribbit, Ochako-chan, what did you do to her?" I said before, it isn't like that." "What did you do to her?" Midoriya stepped back by instinct. Asui wasn't exactly a powerhouse, but she was pretty scary right now. And to make things even more fun, he was fully aware that he couldn't use his maximum strength like in fight with Bakugo, but holding back would lead him to a bad end. Midoriya had to decide quick what course of action take because Asui was already on the attack, running around him and searching for an opening. It was probably too late to run now, because she would be after him anyway, plus, if he managed to get through the anger, it was an opportunity to clarify his relationship with Uraraka, maybe. The frog girl jumped to the side, holding on a lamp post and gaining momentum to launch herself at Midoriya, hitting him with both feet and jumping away in sequence. Midoriya defended himself easily, but still got surprised with the amount of strength she had. Maybe he gave Asui an unfair low ball, but the time to consider it was really short because she took impulse and jumped at him again. She kept hitting him and bouncing back, not giving Midoriya any chances to counter. She was fast enough to react and avoid his punches while mid-air, and she didn't seem to be getting tired. Alright, two can play this game. Now on full cowl, he started to jump around, similar to Asui, but going farther with each jump and lacking precision compared to the frog girl. He could learn a thing or two with her if she didn't want to beat the life out of him right now. The fight now seemed a pinball game as the two teens leaped around, hitting one another in the air and bouncing back. Asui landed on top of a lamppost and used her tongue to hold Midoriya, predicting where he would land. Midoriya struggled against her, taking care to restrain his strength. In a sudden move, Asui let go of the post and recoiled her tongue, flying right at Midoriya and knocking him off balance, but he reacted quickly by planting his hands on the floor and using his shoot style to propel his legs up, wrapping them around Asui and throwing her on the ground. Asui got up quickly, but not sooner than Midoriya, who surprised her with a fake punch and held the frog girl in a headlock, his arms passing under hers and his hands clasped together behind her neck. She tried to break free, but Midoriya only put more strength. Asui-san, stop just for a minute. Ribbit, where did you learn this? Ojiro-sen gave me some lessons. She kept struggling for a minute, but suddenly stopped, letting her body go numb as she released a tired breath. Ribbit, go ahead, do whatever you want. What are you talking about? I just wanted to talk. Is this what you said to her? Asui-san, you know I would never do something like this with your Uraraka. Trust me, I didn't force neither harm her. Midoriya, you had to see it. You had to see the look on her face, Ribbit. It was like she was another person. I know she looks kinda different, but she's still the same, and so do I. Forgive me if I'm skeptic about it. So, will you take me too? WW what? I didn't even think about that. It seems fit for your liking. Am I wrong? Defenseless girls depending on you? Is this what you think of me and your Uraraka? He never heard the answer because on the next second a loud sound blast hit him and Asui. He let go of Asui to cover his ears and ended receiving a kick on his stomach. The sound ceased, and when his head stopped ringing, he saw Gyro helping Asui to get up. Gyro-sen? Are you all right, Tsuyu-chan? Did he do something? I'm all right, but I'll feel better. She glared up at Midoriya. When I hit him straight in the face. Not only Asui, but Gyro too looked ready to kill, and Midoriya was the target. Shit, I already lost too much time, and I didn't even got to explain anything. It seems that everything got worse. I have to leave now. Gyro-san will be hard to deal with. Deciding to flee instead of fight, Midoriya activated full cowl and dashed away. Gyro and Asui went after him, completely ignoring the objective of the training. Team B Sato vs Todoroki. He should stop taking easy on his classmates. No one in Class 1 was playing around. Sato kept throwing ice blocks and other heavy objects at Todoroki, who had to either dodge or use his flames, but he was starting to get tired of it, mentally and physically. He didn't know that Sato's sugar rush had an increase in duration. Not only that, was in the start of the year, Sato would be snoozing already, but the buff teen was surprisingly focused on what he was doing. Todoroki also progressed a lot with his flames and using both powers in conjunction, but still had the problem of relying too much on his quirk, so prolonged fights were a major difficulty for him. He felt the strain on his body, his ice side with the extremities feeling cold and his fire side aching like light sun burns. It is pretty fun, I have to say, but I should end this now. Still acting cool, huh? I guess that suits you. Sato picked up another ice block and tossed it at Todoroki, who launched flames and instantly melted the ice into a cloud. But then from the cloud came a piece of metal that Todoroki found to be a street sign swung by Sato. Todoroki created an ice pillar, but it didn't came up fast enough, so it only reduced the damage. Sato went after him while he bent the street sign in the form of an U. He thought that Todoroki was weak enough to be held in place for some moments, and that would be the end of his part. Kirishima used his quirk as much as he could until he ran out of stamina. Right now the redhead was resting inside a building. Todoroki was getting up, breathing heavily from the hit to his side. Sato towered over him, ready to bind the teen on the ground, a smirk on his face once the thought of defeating the prodigy Todoroki Shoto crossed his mind. That smirk faded into a confused face, and then complete surprise when he got stuck into an ice pillar. Huh? How? I thought that you were out of ice? Well, I have some problems with relying on my quirk so much. One way to get around is always having a little bit saved. Ah, I thought I would get to act cool defeating you. Don't worry, I'm practically out of the game. This ice you won't break so easy. Still, it's freaking cold here. I'm feeling kinda tired. Huh? Hibernation? While Todoroki checked the heartbeats of his asleep classmate, a blur passed by above his head, a glimpse of green telling the white and red-haired boy who it was. And right after Midoriya, seeming rather frustrated, or maybe angered, came Gyro and Asui, obviously pursuing him. Being quite worn out, Todoroki didn't bother to stop them or ask, neither go after them or Midoriya, thought the last one sounded tempting. He just let himself slide to the ground on the ice block Sato was stuck in. A couple more minutes and he would melt the ice. Team Asiro vs Team B Ishido. The tape hero had spotted the pink girl that was after him. He had to admit he was impressed that she managed to keep up with him. Now to discover where the base was. He swung himself up, reaching the rooftops and getting out of Ishido's view. As for the pink-skinned girl in the street, she skidded to a halt. TSC. Lost him. But he doesn't seem to know where the base is. Still, he's kinda close, better warn Kaminari. She then ran through an alley and entered a tall building by the back door, oblivious to the observer after her. From the rooftop, Zero had his eyes on her since he got there. He also saw someone else from there, none other than Yaoyorozu. He quickly jumped down and made his way to her, telling what he had seen. He also told that Todoroki was near, and that Midoriya was holding Bakugo. And so Yaoyorozu decided to go into that building and try to capture the flag themselves. They would do it like that. Zero would break in and keep Ishido and possibly Kaminari occupied while Yaoyorozu searched for the flag. Once she find it, she would create a distraction, give the flag to Zero, and hold the enemies for the longest time she could, leasing her teammate free return to the base. Seemed good enough for a plan, and so they did. Zero was on the rooftop of a building in front of the one Ishido ran into, and Yaoyorozu was waiting at the corner, ready to enter. On a count of 3, the black-haired boy jumped and used his tapes to latch on the wall and push him past the window of the 3rd floor, where he had seen the silhouette of who he believed to be Ishido. What he encountered thought was surprising to say the least. A mannequin using a wig similar to Ishido's hair. And then, from the shadows, the real deal came out in a flip, like a gymnast, and kicked Zero, making him fall on the ground. The wooden floor broke under his weight, and so did the other floors until he ended on the underground garage. Ishido used her acid to weaken the structure in some points, creating a trap. Zero was dizzy but still able to keep going, but he didn't have much time to recover because a bolt of electricity coming from the ground almost got him. Hey Zero-san, what took you so long? Kaminari? So if you're here then this must be the base. Ha! Think again, buddy, we hid it in another place. Kaminari, don't tell him that. Ishido just got through the stairs and ran directly to Kaminari to give him a slap behind his head, then ran again to cut Zero's escape routes. Give up, man, you are not going anywhere and you are outnumbered. Zero was desperate, looking back and forth while searching for an opening, and he looked up the hole he fell into, gaining a smirk on his face after that. I think you don't know to count, Kaminari. Who said I was alone? Smash. The ceiling above Kaminari revealed Midoriya, his fist breaking through the concrete. Moments ago, Yaoyorozu, who had heard Kaminari talking out loud about the hideout, spotted Midoriya running and called for him, giving the boy a quick explanation of their plan. He quickly understood and prepared to enter on another fight. Now on the underground, Midoriya jumped at Kaminari, grabbing him and tossing the blonde away, while Shiro tried to immobilize Ashido, but her acid was melting his tape. Midoriya, change. Right. The one for all user jumped at one of the walls and then leapt at Ashido. Acid Veil. Ashido used her special move and created a wall of acid, but she didn't count with Midoriya's next move. 5% Delaware Smash. The strong wind created by the flick of his finger made the acid wall be blown away, and some ended falling over Ashido. The acid wasn't strong enough to hurt, it only stinged a bit, but could melt clothes with some ease, and it did in the worst way. Ashido's pants melted near her abs, revealing a light pink underwear with small red ribbons on the sides. Both of them froze in place, their eyes never leaving the pink-colored piece. When Midoriya broke the ceiling, he ended breaking some pipes too, so there was some water around. Shiro was winning over Kaminari easily because his tape could isolate most of the discharges Kaminari threw at him. Using a tactic suggested by Midoriya, Shiro jumped around Kaminari, dodging his attacks with ease and throwing some tape here and there, but never hitting him. He had to say that the blonde had some skills, but not enough to get him. "Are you going to keep running around? This ain't funny at all, Shiro." "You're already dead, man. Hee hee, I always wanted to say that." Shiro pulled one of his tapes, starting some kind of chain reaction that pulled all the others, wrapping the electric teen in a cocoon of tape. "Spider Trap. What do you think about this name?" "Sounds nice, but it needs to be more flashy." "Like what?" "Oh, something like indiscriminate discharge." Kaminari let out his max output, sending electricity through the ground. Shiro had one of his feet on a puddle of water, and before he could jump away he received the charge, being electrocuted and fainting after, small trails of smoke leaving his uniform and a light smell of burnt tape in the air. As for Kaminari, as expected, his brain went into short circuit, and he just stood there wrapped in tape and with the dumbest face ever. Back to Midoriya and Ashido, still staring at the former's underwear. Midoriya was the first to react. I'm sorry, Ashido. I didn't wanted that to happen." Midoriya, Panties showing off or not, she went after him like a lioness hunting a gazelle, her hands covered in acid. Midoriya's eyes went big like two dishes, jumping back and barely avoiding being burned by the acid girl. "Bro, I can't believe you did this. Idiot, pervert, enemy of all women." Ashido, it wasn't on purpose." "Like what you did with your Araka. That was an accident too." "No, that was different oof." Midoriya just received a kick from behind that sent him flying at a column. Asui and Gyro had just arrived. He barely got up, a kunai got stuck near his head, completely scaring the boy. He looked up, kind of knowing where that came from, and found Yaoyorozu glaring at him from the hole on the floor above, already creating more dangerous objects. She must have seen the scene from the upper floor since she was the one that gave Shiro a signal. He never thought that he would be afraid of hearing his own name. Midoriya, neither that amount of menacing auras together. I'm sorry. Let's go back some minutes back in time, more precisely to when Todoroki and Sato were fighting. Like Sato said, he was keeping Todoroki occupied, and with that opportunity, Kirishima started to run